Wow, I love that the drag queen on the panel is the one without a fan.
Well,
also, today's podcast, the resident evil diva and her beards. This is the energy that y'all are getting today. Just fair warning, it's chaos energy today. But hello, divas, and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real in the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy, say something gay, and I'm drinking. Oh, Jesus.
She said something gay.
Gay.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you. Okay, one more time. I'm going to say something gay. Gay. Thank you. And I'm drinking Coke Zero, because when do I not at this point? Let's be real. That's all. And that was a great surprise. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Oh, hey, everybody. I'm Lana, your resident evil diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea, because you know I love me some tea per. Drinking on my old favorite, Strawberry Sunkist back, pure. And I have my cup mug, because she's here. And she has stuff in it, but from Halloween, so yay. You can get your cup mug at creations.etsy.com. The link will be in the description below. And yes, I might seem a little, but I am, because my beards made me upset before the beginning of this podcast. So now they have to deal with the real evil diva for the rest of the podcast. But you can get your cup mug or any of our cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. The link will be in the description below. We do ship domestically here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and we do ship internationally, so there are no excuses. Unless your country is on fire, under fire, or underwater. And Eris, yes, I am looking at you, because there are no excuses for you. You do not involve any of those excuses, but a room. Okay. But if those are some things that are happening in your world, my thoughts and my prayers go out to you and yours, and we hope that everybody gets through all of these trials and tribulations with safety and get back to a sense of normalcy. And then when you're ready to celebrate with some cup merch. All of the merch. Check out the shop. We got a lot of stuff for you. Period.
Well, I'm David Healy, and I don't have a cute intro, but I do have a cute shirt. I am wearing my Michael Maruli shirt. The House of Maruli.
Michael Maruli.
Yes. So we love Michael. I am just drinking some water right now.
My big question is, do I think I am here? Hola, I am Eduardo, the Mexican representative of this podcast. I am here to talk shit and get hit. This is my first time being here, so I am excited. Do I think I am here? Yes, I am here. I am drinking water because I don't have anything else, but I'm excited to be here. Yay.
And hey up, Chucks, I'm Eris Envy, your punk rock fairy, your favourite rugby playing drag queen from Leeds. And I'm not drinking anything, but I do have this really lovely bottle of ketchup.
Oh. Drink it.
Lana, I'm so sorry.
Drink it. Drink it. Drink it.
Drink the ketchup. Drink the ketchup.
Oh my god.
No, don't tell me to do it, because I will. And then Lana will never forgive me.
I would love it. Oh, I am living
do
for
it.
it. Do it. Yeah,
is it gonna
because I would do that. Oh, get it. Oh no, not it's not. Oh,
It's dead. It's dead.
It's done. That's even worse.
I think some of it got my eyebrows.
That's what she said.
We warned you. Did we not warn you we were going to be on one today, everyone?
Lord, this is gonna take
maybe
forever.
Eris is my favorite beard of them all today. I don't know. That just cracked me up.
Wow.
I'll drink ketchup.
So
Oh, that's
speaking
so
of rich
funny.
people being crazy,
Oh,
I
I have
have-
ketchup too. I have ketchup too.
Anyway, you know what else we have? A Snatch Game to talk about, and a damn good one at that.
Mm.
Like,
Absolutely.
David, you said it before we started, but we are on a good streak of Snatch Games recently.
Philippines, España, this.
We're on
What's
a
next?
roll.
Thailand?
Hmm?
What's next? Thailand?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or
for
down
sure.
under.
Thailand will be first.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, actually.
It's going to be a close race, I think.
I think
Because
it's
we've
still
got things in the works, everyone. I'll just say that much. But
Okay.
we are here. It is episode 6 of Drag Race UK. We're going to talk about it. But before we do, make sure to subscribe if you've not already, because we're here almost all the time giving you almost all things drag. And make sure to check out the description below where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, and our Patreon for exclusive content and early access, including early access to most of the Look Over Here episodes for the franchises we are currently covering. And you'll be getting early access to all of our end of the year videos when they come out. Ooh. We are working on end of the year videos, and there's going to be a lot of them. So stay tuned. But Eduardo, like you said, this is your first time here. We may or may not have bullied Eduardo into binging Drag Race UK to catch up. So he can
Absolutely.
join
Yes,
us.
I was bullied violently against my will, and now I have to be here. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm absolutely kidding. No, I had been just hearing over and over again how great of a season this is, and so I was just like, fine. You know what? I will see for myself. And then I was proven like, yes, absolutely. This is one of the best seasons so far. I am so so excited to be talking about it. Love all the queens. Everything is like great so far. I am super excited to be here. Super excited to be talking about it. And on Snatch Game, even better.
Snatch Game. The only thing that's been bad about this season is the boot order. I
Really?
gotta be honest. Oh, like everyone that's been eliminated so far have been some of my favorite people.
So there's people who are sticking around that you're like, "Ah, I wish they were gone instead.
Yes.
Shade. Say their names.
Look,
I'm
we're
gonna
not going
tell
to
you
do
to
that to
say
If
their
you've
names.
Octavia.
watched any podcast if you've watched any podcast that I've been on for UK, you would know there's one person that I haven't been loving as much until this week, David Healy, and I'm happy to be proven wrong finally. But we'll talk about it. But Kiki's gone, and I'm really still depressed about it.
That was so sad.
Do I think she would have done much better in this challenge?
No.
No. Am I sad she didn't get to do Snatch Game? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
she's gone. They killed the lip sync. And, yeah.
Slay.
I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts about what happened at the start of the episode.
They talked about Marmalade like keeps being like second place basically, and so I was like, oh, is this setting up Marmalade doing better and getting her win finally? Maybe we'll
Spoiler.
see.
No.
And then everybody de-drags, and I want to know your all's opinion on this because I was really curious what was going on here. But we see Kyron getting out of their like bodysuit that they had from last week, and there's just this liquid all
It's lube.
over. Huh?
It's lube. It's
But
lube.
they were like acting like it was sweat.
it
well,
was
it's
probably
probably
a mixture
lube
of
and
both.
sweat.
It's a mixture, but it's
Because
Yeah,
when you
'cause
put on
that's how-
latex, you have to completely lube yourself up in order to get into the
And-
latex suit.
And that's why I wanted to ask because it seemed to me like it would be some sort of lubrication. But
Mhm.
then they're like, "Oh, you sweat! Ew, it stinks!"
Well, it-
all of this.
Well, David, let me ask you this question. If you were in a latex suit where you could barely breathe and corseted for
Mhm.
probably, I would say, a minimum of 6 hours, how sweaty do you think you would be?
I don't know. I don't sweat because I'm a lady. But
Lies. Liza Minnelli lies.
who?
Actually,
Liza
no,
Minnelli.
I
Just
do know that
Lana
to be
look.
true. I have spent several hours with David Healy.
Well, I did lie about being a lady. Surprise, I'm not.
What?
Shock. This is
But
news to
I'm
me.
not a big sweater, honestly. I probably would in this circumstance, but honestly, I had a very different reaction from Relisa because I was like, oh, why is this kind of doing it for me?
Oh my god! David!
Wow. Wow.
David likes lube.
Karen, if you're
twins
watching,
confirmed.
hey!
This is one of the rare times I'm like, I hope a queen is not watching.
I'm
I
shocked.
hope she is.
David,
I'm
you
gonna
are
click this
you are
and
2
this
for
is-
2 for thirsting for drag queens on episodes that you've been on. Like 2 for
I mean,
2.
But I've thirsted over Kyron since the beginning of the
I'm
season.
gonna
Oh,
clip this and
literally
send it to her.
since the promo.
Well, Lord. Okay, never mind then.
I'm gagged that you just said that. Like a little grossed out, just a little, because I had the same reaction as Release. I was just like, oh god, it's something about it. Just looked like snot pouring off of her body, and I was just like, but I get it why she did it and why it was looking like that and all that. It just looked kind of to me. But
All I saw was attractive person, sweat, and lube.
David's ideal Friday night.
Lord.
This is crazy.
Lord. Good to know. Let me write this down.
I gotta
actually.
get out of here.
Let
I
me
gotta
write
get
this
out of
down.
here. This is
For the
Absolutely
Patreon,
not.
Eduardo. For the Patreon.
this is
Fine.
absolutely not the show for me.
Not that. I won't talk
She
about
quit
it
so
anymore.
hard that she left.
4 beards
I'll
stand in
Julie.
front of me.
It's time for us to sweat for our lives. I don't know.
Lana, you better come back because
I
this
would
is a
win.
damn good episode, and you're gonna regret it if you don't
Yeah,
talk
you
about
need
this
to be
track.
here. You need to be here.
Oh God,
No, she's literally backstage. Breathe.
I will just. Oh my God, yeah. I'm just gonna be.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's move on to something that is much, much more exciting to talk about. Our next day in the workroom, where RuPaul walks in, and it's the reading challenge! Yay! And a pretty damn good one at that.
Yeah.
I was really happy with this reading challenge.
Yeah, a few
So.
people surprised me.
What were our favorite reads? Why
I
is it not Relisa?
Well,
think one of my favorites was Lavoie when she was talking to Kyron, and she said, "You're like my ex-husband. You peaked early and then left."
I was
so
honestly
good.
That
living
was
for.
actually my favorite one.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I also really just enjoyed Karen just straight up calling Lavoie ugly. That was just funny
She
to
got her a
me.
brick.
Just a brick.
Yeah, and also calling Lil ugly. Like
Lil,
just,
yeah.
oh, you're just fucking ugly. That's
Yeah,
it.
you
You're,
come from the House of Gorgeous.
and you're
Then why are you
fucking,
so effing ugly?
My
Okay.
favorite had to be from Lil. What's the difference between Octavia's wigs and Kyron Thrax? I don't know, but they're both absolutely desperate for attention.
Attention.
I am falling. This episode cemented it. I think Lil is my favorite queen on this season. Like
Okay.
this whole episode for me, just I loved it. I loved it.
I do have to mention another Lavoie one. When she was talking about Octavia, and she said she's the first queen who can pick up radio signal with her eyebrows.
Lord, that one was incredible.
I think it's because
One of the best reads.
Comfortable just dragging each other.
Mhm.
This you can tell this cast actually like there's a lot of good chemistry going on within everybody because the reads all felt so natural. And my favorite part of the reading challenge was when Marmalade got read for the first time and she started clapping and jumping up and down. She was like, "I love it! I love this!" That's how I would be too.
When talking about Octavia's teeth and how she can eat an apple through a picket fence.
Wild.
Oh my god.
And I don't remember what
Wild.
Chara said, but I remember it made me laugh.
Mhm.
Oh, I have it because it's my other favorite read. Relisa, you give sex bomb. In the challenge, you gave sex, and in the sewing challenge, you bombed.
Mhm.
Iconic.
I was like, is this finally an episode where Chara's gonna do well? And then she did, and I was so happy about it.
Marmalade had a good one. I can't remember what it was, but like I made note, like Marmalade was one of my favorites.
Something about a Scouse cat.
I don't
Oh, wait, no, that's the
remember.
promo.
Was it not the Family Gorgeous one?
Yeah.
Was that it? Oh,
Uh-huh.
that was from Marmalade?
Uh-huh.
That was from Kyra.
No,
was
that was from Kyron. I literally have the episode up on the side
Okay.
going through it. That's why I'm like, oh, it was about Chanel and her boy hair sticking out of her wig.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was very good. And then she had one for Lavoie. Oh, Lavoie had all of her costumes stolen out of her tour van. But now
can
we
see why they returned
why
it.
they were returned.
Yeah, that was it.
It was really good. I think there's several people that could have won the reading challenge for me, and I would have been okay with it. For draft purposes, I'm not mad that Lavoie won because I'm holding on with a Lavoie and a dream. But
She was my winner.
I just think I loved Lil's read so much that, like, for me, I would have given it to Lil. Or even Chara. Even though we only saw one from Chara, I didn't hate Chara's.
Yep, that's the standard for winning the reading challenge. I didn't hate it.
Pretty much. No, the
Most
standard
seasons.
is the standard is we get to see more than one of them.
Yeah.
But we obviously find out the Maxi Challenge is Snatch Game. Everyone goes and prepares. This episode was a lot of RuPaul talking to the girls in walkthroughs. I think everyone got their moment. The big thing is that both Lil and Chara both
Both were going to be Queen Victoria.
Yeah. And Logan is frozen.
Absolutely. They were both going to be Queen Victoria, but then Chara and they were like, what do we do? Do we go with the same thing or do we decide to one of us do something different? It was very evident that Lil was like not trying to change Queen Victoria at all.
Mhm.
She was not trying to change it. So she was just like, good luck. We'll see what happens. And so Chara was like, oh, okay. Well, then there it is. So then Ru comes in to do the walk through with everyone to figure out what character everybody was going to do. And Lil
Lavoie.
Lavoie was in that. Lil Lavoie and
Was it Chanel?
I think it might have been Chanel. Yeah, they all go up. Yeah, it was Chanel. They go up, talk to Ru. Lil says she's Queen Victoria. And so Ru's like, oh, okay, cool, great.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny about her? Can you make it funny? And she's like, well, we don't know how she sounded. Or Ru was like, well, I did. And I was like, okay, well, I see you. That was cute. But they were going back and forth trying to figure out what makes Queen Victoria funny. She settled. She's like, I'm just going to do what I do, see what happens. Lavoie was doing Liza Minnelli. She's like, I've done Liza, and I just feel a connection to Liza. We found out that she worked for Liza's husband for 2 years.
Yeah, David Guest. And I was like, David Guest, I know who that is. That's David's
dad. I know who that is.
Yeah,
like,
that's David's dad, David Guest, who
dead.
was not dead, but
he was
now
not dead. Now he's gone, but not David's dead. But yeah, I was like, I know who that is. But so she worked for her husband, for Liza's husband, for 2 years. He gave her one of the scarves, which she actually wore for the Snatch Game, which I thought was lovely. And she's very, like, Liza was an idol of hers, so she was kind of just like, okay, cool. I just felt very connected to her, and I just want to do this. So it was great. Did Liza. We saw that, dang, I forgot who that was.
Chanel. Chanel was
was
going to
doing
be Coco Peru.
Coco Peru, which Ru actually does know because they actually did Tu Wong Fu together about 30 years ago. She's a drag queen icon. And so, yeah, everybody was like, cool beans, she's going to do it. Ru was like, how are you going to make her funny? And Chanel was like, just going to do the best I can because I know you know her. We're going to make it work. So.
You are muted.
We can't hear you.
We can't
if you're
hear you,
talking.
darling.
I was muted again. I silenced myself this time. I got so nervous for Chanel because I had been wondering whether anyone was ever going to try to do Coco Peru on Snatch Game. And it is a tall order. And hopefully I'm not the only person here that knows who Coco Peru is.
I know
all
who
know.
Coco is.
I do.
I know who Coco.
I've seen her live.
Okay, great. You don't know. You never know. Regardless, she's a very difficult character to embody, and so I was worried about what was going to happen. I immediately was like, "Oh God, oh no!" She's either gonna. I literally said while watching, she's either gonna win or go home. And well, we saw how that turned out. Now, didn't we?
What I literally wrote down is, if Ru knows this character, do not do it. Don't do a character.
It's Raja O'Hara doing LaToya Jackson, then absolutely do it.
Yeah, but like if RuPaul knows her, it's a tall order. It's gonna be hard, and you know what? You should at this point probably not do it.
Hmm.
But then the next group gets called up, and it was Lisa. It was. I'm sorry, somebody was honking outside my house. I'm like, what? It was Relisa. It was
Kyron and Octavia.
Yeah, those people, all three of them. And so Kyron has had 2 weeks. She was either going to do Elvis Presley or somebody else. And Ru said, do Elvis Presley. And she said, I'm going to do her. I'm going to do him.
Trunch Bowl.
Yeah, it was going to be the Trench Bowl from Matilda, which I was like, oh, that could be really cool. I was actually disappointed with Ru in this moment for pushing her towards Elvis, because I just felt like Elvis is like a little bit more like standard. Like you see so many impersonations of Elvis. It's like seen one, you've seen them all. So I'm like, well, this is not going to be Kyron's best time to shine. I wanted to see something more unique. Will I eat my words? Who knows?
You better.
Who knows? But Relisa was going to do Rihanna. Absolutely. And I was like, sure, let her do Rihanna. But Ru was like, but Rihanna's, we don't know. She's not funny. How are you going to make her funny? I think in that moment when she was questioned about how she was going to make Rihanna funny and how she's going to do this, kind of started messing with Relisa and was like, I don't know how I'm going to make her funny. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I think from that moment, it was just, she was completely in her head. She already felt defeated the moment they said it was Snatch Game. Because she's like, oh, no. Snatch Game. Which I get, because I would have been me. I'm like, I am not that witty. I'm not that off-the-cuff kind of person. So if somebody tell me I do Snatch Game right now, I'm like, preparing for lip sync because I can't come up with stuff, right off the top of my head to say that's funny. And so I think she just felt that weight come down on her. And she was just never, I don't know if she was ever going to be able to recover from that. It was just like, I don't know what else to do. How else do I do Rihanna? Or who else do I do? Because I'm not an actor or a comedy person. That's just not my do.
Yeah. But also, like, I don't agree with Ru saying Rihanna's not a funny person. I do think Rihanna's funny.
She is.
Like, if you've ever looked at the way she tweets, she truly has a I don't give a fuck attitude in the best way. Like, it's just, Rihanna has a spirit and she's there is, like, we know, like, sorry, I'm just annoyed because it's like, we don't know much about Rihanna. We do. You're just not tuned into it.
It's again one of those moments where Ru doesn't know much about this person, therefore the world doesn't know much about this person. in Rue's eyes. And I guess for these queens, their world for right now is Drag Race. So I get it. I think there's a lot of different ways she could have done it. I just wish it wasn't at all what we saw.
Yeah, it was a weird choice for sure. We'll get into it.
Talk about it.
But it really felt like Rue meddles in their decision for Snatch Game, but it felt like Rue was just everybody like, oh, change this.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I can't, it makes it hard for me to say you shouldn't have done that, Rue, because we end up with one of the best Snatch Games ever. But I really do think it's in spite of all of the weird feedback that we get from Rue. In fact, two of the people who kind of listened to her feedback were two of the lower people in the rankings. So I don't know.
But another two of them were in the top 3.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk about the workroom moments that we get after Snatch Game, before the runway right now? Since we're in the workroom.
Might as well.
Yeah. Sorry, there were a few more of the table moments that I thought were worth talking
Jesus
about.
Christ. I'm all over the place. Yeah, no.
No, it's okay.
Talk about the table.
Yeah, because we get Octavia next, and Octavia is wanting to do a Welsh Dragon. And this is where I think Rue, it's another person that Rue kind of gets in their head, because Rue's like, oh, what about Michael Jackson? We've seen you do some Michael Jackson things. And so Octavia's like, oh, well, okay, if you say that, I'll do that. And obviously, if you're hearing something from Rue, that's where you want to go. But I don't think she had any of the materials to do Michael Jackson. She hadn't practiced it. So I think it just really kind of messed up the direction she was going to go. And I really wanted to see what this character would have been if Rue didn't say that at all.
Mm.
I agree.
But we get our last two people, which are Marmalade and Chara. Which, Chara, you did not do what we asked you to do. You didn't tell us in the comments to say Chara or Chara. So, I don't know. I don't know. But, well, we find out Marmalade's going to be Marie Antoinette. Pretty standard conversation there. But we have a wild conversation with Charity because she wants to do Mary Poopins. I guess they can't say Poppins. And they're referencing, was it Mary Poopins in the season 4 musical?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
it was
no.
Larry Poppins.
Oh, that's right. It was. So I don't know why they keep saying Mary Poopins. Maybe it's a
I think that's
copyright
just
issue.
one of those weird, name things that RuPaul does. I honestly just think it's one of those, she just calls it Mary Poopins.
Okay. Well,
I don't know that to be 100% for sure, but
mhm.
I don't know.
But then Rue does a thing where it's oh, you're Irish. Why not do something Irish? And she mentions Nadine Coyle, which I don't know how well you all know Nadine. I do not know her very well, except for
very well.
I was
Very
super
well.
into X Factor for a long time, and 15 years ago when Cheryl Cole at the time joined X Factor. There were I would look at X Factor news websites, and everything was about Nadine Coyle and Cheryl hate each other. They hate each other, and it's just all this drama. So that's my only exposure to her was oh, she must have had beef with Cheryl, even though they were both in Girls Aloud. So other than that, I'm I don't really know her.
Nadine
My name
Coyle.
is Nadine Coyle. I'm from Lark Hill and Derry. My date of birth is 15th of the 6th, 85, making me a Gemini. That's
Making me
what
a
I know
Gemini?
about Nadine Coyle.
That is all I
Did you
know.
read that though? Did you read that?
No, I actually know the quote.
Okay, it looked like you were reading. That's why
Nadine
I said
Coyle
that.
is the mother I never had, the sister I always wanted, and the
I
icon,
have
the
been-
legend, the diva in the moment.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, that shit, that you guys. Not shit.
Shit.
No, that's shit, you guys. That's real shit.
Don't bring.
Come on, now.
Not you bringing Lisa Scott Lee into another podcast, Eris Envy.
Sorry.
Anyway. Yeah, Chara basically is just like, now how the fuck do I do this? Because I was
She found
nervous.
a way.
And then on top of the nerves, now I'm being told to do something else. Cool. Awesome. Great. Love it. Big fan. But
Big fan.
yeah, that was all the workroom stuff. Or the walk around stuff, yes?
I believe so, yes.
Cool. Now we can talk about this lovely Octavia Chara beautiful conversation that they have. Because that's what I want to talk about. Because I realized in this episode, I have more in common with Octavia than I thought. And this whole episode just really honestly endeared me to her. I really enjoyed it. And I was happy to see that I had more in common with Octavia than I thought I did. So, I don't hate Octavia anymore. Not that I did before.
I don't know, it looked like you did.
I really didn't. I promise you that. There are other people that I like on this cast a little bit more than Octavia. I'll say that much.
How dare
So,
you?
you're saying fuck her and fuck her drag? Is what I'm hearing? Love you.
No, you don't, you bitch. Was there another workroom conversation? I don't remember.
I don't remember, honestly.
David, what was it?
Talk
Oh,
about it.
Chanel having a cry.
Oh, yes, Chanel having a cry. Because the pressure is getting to her. And I really felt for Chanel here. It was one of those things, like, the girls talk about it. The girls talk about being on Drag Race and being like, yeah, I kind of had a feeling when I was getting eliminated. And this really felt like all of Chanel's worst fears were coming to life, and she was just processing all of it in real time. Just like, yeah, she probably had a good idea. She knew what the lip sync song was, and she knew who she was up against.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, it's worth reiterating this is after the actual Snatch Game.
Yeah.
So she knows at this point she bombed. The thing for me during this whole conversation, like, my heart really went out to Chanel, and I wanted to just, like, be fully connected with this conversation. The problem is she's talking to Kyron, and Kyron's eyebrows were wild in this moment. It was just her little bit of real brows, and then just this long swoop going all the way up on either side. And I was like, how can I take this conversation as serious as it should be when I'm looking at Kyron every 3 seconds looking like that? Wild.
Yeah, this is always like a thing that happens in Drag Race when like someone is having a very serious conversation, but they have like half an eyebrow on. They have only one pair of eyelashes. Their makeup is like melting off of their face. Like this happens a lot. And it's always kind of hard to like fully pay attention when like you only have one eyebrow and you are crying while you only have one eyebrow and your face is full of powder. So like I understand what you're saying. It can be tough to really pay attention to it sometimes.
Crying in drag is not the one, speaking from experience. You do not want to be getting pulled out of the wine closet because you've been hiding and crying in there.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of the same way with the first conversation with Chera and Octavia, because Octavia had that like muddy foundation like going all the way around like her nose and eyes. And it was just like her normal.
What is this runway category? What is
I was so
Octavia
confused.
doing?
The eyebrows, Octavia's face. I was so confused.
The eyebrows are the nipples of the face.
And you've
And
got
you,
lovely.
sir, have eyebrows that can catch the Wi-Fi. That's all. But yes. Shall we runway?
Yes.
Woo.
Yeah.
With a man I don't care if that's the face you're making. I love Amanda Holden.
What's wrong with Amanda Holden, Eris?
I don't know. It's a British thing. I can't explain it. I feel like if I did, it'd be giving away cultural secrets.
Ooh.
No, actually, I just don't like. I think she's a bit of a. I'm not going to say that word on our podcast.
Thank you.
Especially not when ITV Studios is down the road from me. That woman could pull up on me at any point.
I'm assuming you're referring to the charisma, uniqueness, and talent of it all.
I mean, I was gonna, that's a stronger word than I was gonna use, but okay.
Well, all right then. I want to know what we think of this RuPaul look. Because I gotta be honest.
She looks
I'm
crazy.
kind of obsessed. I'm kind of obsessed with it.
I like it.
I like it, but then the leg warmers appear, and I am immediately filled with rage.
I just think it's a lot texturally. I think there's a lot happening here, Ru, and I'm scared.
Yeah, but in a way that I'm not mad at.
As I said, it's just the leg warmers for me. Just the leg warmers. That's it. Just take them off. That's it. I'm asking. I'm begging. Please and thank you.
And I love that Alan looks the straightest I think he's ever looked.
For
No, 'cause
once.
he looks like a lesbian, so...
So the straightest he's ever looked.
Yeah. Still.
Obviously.
I do love that
But-
Michelle and Amanda look like they're in a girl group. And Ru is clearly the Beyonce in this situation.
So then
The
which-
producer is there.
Is Michelle Kelly then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amanda's poor Amanda.
But like,
Poor
who else
Amanda.
is Amanda supposed to be?
Latavia.
Latavia.
Latoya. Latoya
Oh
Luckett.
yeah.
At least she's not Farrah.
True. And of course, Lana reappears out of the mist when we start talking about Destiny's Child.
Absolutely.
She felt that in her bones and just said, "I need to go back. I need to go back."
I need to return.
It was calling me. It was calling me because I'm the Beyonce.
Your name?
Period.
When no one
Now-
is around you.
Absolutely, but I'd rather somebody pay my bills, if being honest. But this
But aren't
Jessica
you an
looks-
independent woman?
I am, but still, I'm a survivor as well. But that don't mean I don't need somebody to pay my bills. Period.
I'm gonna work harder because I'm a survivor.
Absolutely.
A single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her kids, and
Not Reba.
gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. She's a survivor. She's not gonna give up.
I need a remix of
She's not gonna
those two
stop.
songs.
I know.
I think that'd be great.
I have seen I do not remember her name, and I feel really bad about it. But I saw a drag queen perform a mix of Survivor and Survivor, and it was Elise Navy Dad. Shout out to a friend of the pod, Elise Navy Dad. She did the Survivor theme song into Survivor by Reba, into Survivor by Destiny's Child.
Iconic.
Period.
That's kind of
Period.
awesome.
I love it. Lana, what did you think of Ru's look?
I like the boots. I love the boots. I'm a fan of the boots.
Oh, Eduardo just spent about 5 minutes complaining about the boots.
Oh, well,
Hate your boots today.
that's
I like the boots. Too.
unfortunate. I'm about to say, everybody can be loud and wrong on different occasions. Today is just Eduardo's day. It's fine. But these
No,
boots
I
are
think
great.
Eduardo's day was yesterday.
Was I wrong? Was I
No.
wrong though?
Just
I was loud, but I was correct.
loud.
I was loud, but I was right. Here,
That's
I
right.
can accept that
Did we
I am
pass
in the
the
minority.
Q&A portion?
And that's
I
fine.
think.
Yeah. Let's just move on to Snatch Game, shall we?
Absolutely.
So, in order, and we'll run through them all. And I think David, as the resident list maker of the panel, should anchor all of the conversations because I think that's fun. We have Marmalade as Marie Antoinette, Chanel O'Connor as Coca Peru, Kyron as Elvis, Relisa as allegedly Rihanna,
Sammy is real.
the placard says Rihanna. I don't believe it. Lavoie's Liza. Chara as Nadine Coyle as Mary Poppins. Lil
Poopins.
as whatever. I can say it because this is our podcast and we can say Mary Poppins on this podcast. So,
Slay.
boom. Lil as Queen Victoria, and then Octavia as the Welsh Dragon, as Michael Jackson, as an old Welsh lady.
I think it's the Welsh Dragon who just has big personality.
Mhm.
Just loves a lot
He's
of
a fan of
things
Michael
about-
Jackson.
A fan
Fair.
of Michael
Cool.
Jackson,
Mhm.
and you know, yeah.
But yes, we start off with Marmalade, and she's Marie Antoinette. And I thought she did really well. Like, I think in most Snatch games, she could have been in the top. She had a lot of funny jokes right from the start. I thought her joke about, like fascism and, it's all people with their pronouns these days. Like, that really appealed to Rue's type of sense of humor, like poking
Funny.
jabs at the Gen X of it all, or the Gen Z of it all. So I thought she did really well. And then the idea of having her like head apart from her body near the end, I thought that was really cute too. You can tell she put a lot of thought and effort into the Snatch game. And this is why sometimes you should just let them do the person that they planned on doing, because if they have things planned out already, then they should be seen to fruition. And I'm glad she did. For me, she was very strong. She was number 4 for me for the night.
I don't know if I'm supposed to go after or who's supposed to go after. I guess I'll go now. Okay, Marmalade I think did a pretty good job overall. I think like in this was a very strong Snatch game, and unfortunately for Marmalade, she was one of the ones that were closer to safe for me. She had a lot of really funny jokes, but she kind of got overshadowed by I think other people. Not saying that she did badly, she just like unfortunately for her, we had some of the best Snatch games that we've seen in a while. So she just started falling a little bit lower and lower in my rankings as well. But I think overall she did a really good job. As just like David said, I think the joke with the pronouns and the fascism of it all was really funny, and that's really like the standout of I think Marmalade's performance in Snatch Game. For me, I had Marmalade in my 5th position, so she was safe for me.
Yeah, Marmalade's in my 5th position. I think she just kind of floated. Like I found her really funny, and I found the character personification she did to be really great. But I just think she was on. Yeah, it was just a really tough Snatch game, and I think if this had been, like some other years in Drag Race UK where we've had really terrible Snatch games, I'm not looking at you for any particular reason, season 3, but like I think it could have done much better. But I think
Much better.
much better. But yeah, unfortunately for me, this was 5th just by kind of default. Sorry, Mom.
I am actually going to echo a lot of what Eris said. I think Marmalade did a really, really great job. Kind of by default, she falls to 5th for me as well. Simply because there are 4 people whose performances I enjoyed more. That's honest to God what it is. But I agree with you completely, David. Sometimes you just got to let the girls do the rehearsed performance of Snatch Game that they prepared for, because I think Marmalade did do a really great job, and I think in a lot of other UK seasons I think she easily would have been in the top. The makeup and the outfit and the hair was perfect. The sensibility was wonderful. The whole bit with her head cut off and her not moving at all, I was looking to see whether there was any movement in her, and I couldn't see anything, and I thought it's a job well done. It's a very strong 5th in my placement for Marmalade.
Yeah, I agree. I think she was 5th for me as well. It was a good, solid performance. Everything else did, I don't have to repeat it. It was just good. It was solid. And it was just others that did slightly better. But she should not feel bad about this performance. She should be very proud of herself.
Agreed. Next up, we had Chanel O'Connor as Coco Peru. Um, I will say, like, I'm not like the most familiar with Coco Peru. I have seen her live, but I don't like follow her super closely. But I will say nothing about her characterization and the accent really gave me Coco Peru. Like it could have been anybody from like Long Island or the Northeast in the United States. Um, and I think she has a problem, and I've noticed this a few times, like when there's comedy moments for her, she tends to meander and take a while to get to the point with her jokes. And I think that's what really made her suffer was she was kind of losing the plot and there was never really a strong payoff with anything that she was going for. And I really do think it's because she was trying to extend it until she thought of something funny and just never found the funny in her responses. So it was pretty unfortunate. She was in a very very solid like pretty big gap below and a pretty big gap above people, and she was number 7 for me.
Yeah, just unfortunately, this Coco was not funny. Unfortunately, was it awful? No. Was it funny? However, also no. Um, I agree with you, David. I think the biggest problem here was that she just meandered a lot and like took a while for us to get to the point of the joke, and once the joke came, it didn't land half of the like most of the time. So it's really unfortunate because once I saw like I heard this choice, I was really excited to see if it worked. But as I said, if RuPaul knows her, I don't think it's a good choice to do it, and this just kind of cements that this was just not a good choice, really.
Yeah, Chanel was 7th for me. I I'm aware of who Coco Peru is, and I've watched some content, but I'm not familiar with absolutely everything. I'm not in the know about all the Coco Peru memes. What I will say is, I don't think I learned anything else about Coco Peru through Chanel's characterization of her, and that's a problem because if we don't know your character, you need to show us who your character is, and if you can't do that, then you've kind of just got a blank template there. So yeah, this was 7th for me.
Well, shocker. I also have Chanel at 7th. Um, as someone who does know a lot of the Coco Peru isms, that's what I was wanting to see. I think the actual physical transformation was not that bad. The wig is spot on for her wig. The makeup is minimal because that's what Coco does. I just wanted her to, reference talking about going to stores and go shopping, or break out her tension tamer tea. Like I wanted a little bit of something that was just a little bit more, just a little bit more than what we got from her. I will say my actual favorite part of this Snatch Game is not anything Chanel did in this episode, but it's actually the caption that Chanel put on Instagram after this episode reading, "Hi, at Miss Coco Peru. I played you on hashtag DragRace UK during hashtag Snatch Game. I want to hashtag RuPaulologize for not serving hashtag Coco Peru realness." And I love the callback to Alyssa and the Katy Perry of it all from season 5. Mm-hmm. I thought that was so fun. Chanel is in on the joke, and I love it. And I love that even more than that, Coco Peru was like, this is incredible. I'm so happy that someone is finally, like, she didn't think it would ever happen. And so for her to recognize Chanel in that way, I think is the best thing Chanel could have gotten out of this Snatch Game.
I didn't get it. I didn't get her performance. For me, her performance was equally bad as Release's, so both of them are equal to me. They are both 7th place or last place because I felt like Chanel drug everything, and it was so flat. It was flatter than flat. It was just nothing was good about her performance. as weird as Releasa's was, we were like, I don't know what she's doing. I didn't know what she was doing either. I was like, what are you doing? Who is this woman? I don't know this one. This isn't the like I said, the little bit of knowledge that I have about Coco. It didn't say nothing to me, and it gave me nothing new. It just wasn't it. It just wasn't it. So I put her equal as Releasa. She's not
Yeah,
great.
but by the way, I also had Chanel in seventh. I forgot to say it, but she's also a seventh.
Okay, next up we have Kyron Thrax, who was Elvis, and I stand corrected because I thought this was really, really good. Like this was one of the better Snatch games I've seen in a while. I thought the characterization was down so well. The accent, the voice. I didn't know Kyron could get that low, and I was very impressed with it. But like,
I'm kind of impressed that you were able to too, David.
oh man, I'm a baritone. I'm a bass. But yeah, I thought Kyron had so many consistent jokes like that were cracking me up. Like writing down burger and then taking a bite of it, like and playing off of people. Like especially, I did notice she especially played off with her friends like Lavoie and Octavia, but it still really worked. Like every time she mentioned Octavia being bacon, I just lost it, and she's like, "Bacon, give me a beat," and then started doing "Call Me Mother," and then had a heart attack. I was like, "Okay, you're just throwing everything at the wall, but it's all landing." So I was so impressed with Kyron. Kyron was my number 2 for the night.
Karen did such an amazing job. I agree. I was a little worried once like we saw that she was gonna do Elvis because Elvis has been done a lot. We've seen like not here but like throughout pop culture. We've seen a lot of Elvis impersonations. And I was like, I don't know if she's gonna be able to bring something interesting or funny to it. And I am so glad to have been proven wrong as well. Like this was so fun. This was so interesting to watch. Like I think the thing that Karen really did best, like David said, was just play bally with the other queens and just be able to talk and make jokes with other people because that's something that not a lot of queens decided to do, and I think Karen was the one that did it the best. And so I was really pleased with all that Karen did. It was really funny. I enjoyed every single minute of it, and for me, Karen was my number one.
I think Kyron ticked every tick box there is to hit with Drag Race. Looked like the character, sounded like the character, had the characterization down, was funny, and was able to banter, not only with the other queens, but also with Ru. And included physical comedy in there. Like, I think Kyron just hit every box. That being said, Kyron is my fourth. So that's how good this Snatch game was.
We are all over the place with our top 5, and I'm not mad at it, actually. I really, really enjoyed what Kyron did. I thought Kyron did a great job. It was a masterclass in Snatch Game. Like I didn't know what to expect with Elvis. I think happening to have Liza as part of this Snatch Game as well only boosted. I think it boosted Kyron more than it did Lavoie, and we'll talk about it. But there was just an ease to Kyron in this challenge. There was you can tell that Kyron has studied Snatch Game, and you can tell that she knew exactly what she needed to do with this character. I have Kyron at number 1.
I have Kyron at number 2. I thought she did really good. It was just a really good performance from her. I mean, what do you expect from Elvis? She gave it to us. She gave us Elvis, and what I expected. I loved how she bantered with everybody. It was just a good performance, and she did well.
And then next up we have Relisa as Rihanna, or as Sammy as Rihanna. So I I really wish RuPaul had not said anything and just let her do her own thing, because I think whatever she originally had planned, it only could have been better than this. Because I think this will go down as one of my least favorite Snatch Game performances ever. And I hate that for her because she looked so much like Rihanna. But I just felt kind of uncomfortable with the character at some points. Like, it just, like, I did not know where she was going with it. There was no payoff for this being Sammy dressed as Rihanna. Like, there had to be something to make it make sense, and it didn't make sense. I mean, even the bacon was confused. So I don't know. What makes me the most frustrated about this performance is I felt like Relisa had such good momentum going into this episode. Like, I thought she was a dark horse. I thought there was a world where she could sneak in there and potentially win this season. And I hope this did not completely ruin those chances, because I think this episode, if it did anything, it really solidified the two main front runners we have. For me, Relisa was number 8, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll just say this. Relisa was also my 8th for Snatch Game. This choice, I understand why this choice was made. I understand why we chose to bring Sammy into this whole thing. Like, I think both Chera and Relisa got very similar like things like told by RuPaul. Like, hey, you could do this character as a different character in like this weird RuPaul things that she comes up with. And so I don't blame Relisa for having listened to RuPaul and for trying something. But at the same time, this definitely just didn't work, because Sammy is a character that works when like in a very specific context, and it worked when there was a script and where everyone else was like going or like around the same like style of comedy. And like Sammy works in a vacuum and in what she was. Sammy, I don't think works as a character for Snatch Game, and it's worse when you try to add this character to another character. It got really messy. It just didn't work.
Trainwreck, 8. Yeah, sorry, Relisa. There's nothing I can add to this other than it made me cringe really bad, and I had to walk out the room.
Wait, did you say she ate?
No, she came 8th.
Trainwreck.
You think you're clever,
8th.
don't you? Sorry, Relisa. Still love you, boo.
Love you, Relisa.
I mean, it was bad. We know it was bad. She knows it was bad. It's nothing that we're saying that she doesn't already know. I really wish she would have did, if she was going to do the Sammy character involved with Rihanna, I wish she would have done Rihanna with, like, maybe she was stalking Rihanna. Like, maybe she has gone through this whole process to make herself look like Rihanna so she could stalk Rihanna and make Sammy the character who is now stalking Rihanna, and be like, I don't know. It's just, or maybe she could have been.
Don't do this concept.
Or maybe she do Rihanna and transforms into Sammy like some crazy type of mix of something. It just didn't work. She know it didn't work. It is what it is.
But what did work was our next contestant. We have Lavoie as Liza Minnelli, and we've seen Liza Minnelli done a few times before. I don't think we've ever seen Liza done this well, personally. I was so into everything she was doing, every like subtle like line that she had, every volley she had with RuPaul. Like there was Ru saying, we're looking for a cock ring, and she's like, are we? Who's lost it? And then Even when RuPaul like smacks the fly or whatever, she says, "Got it," and she's like, "It's gotcha." And what was the other one? It was when RuPaul told her she didn't get the right answer, she's like, "Maybe next time." She goes, "Maybe this time." Even her talking about like having cottage pie, like she volleying off of Elvis and saying, "Oh, I had cottage pie with Jennifer Lopez and Elvis Presley," and I'm like, "Where did Jennifer Lopez come in all of this?" And she just kept like looking directly in the camera too with all of her answers. Just everything she did was making me crack up. I was in pain from laughing at Lavoie. Like she killed it. This was my number one.
Okay, when it comes to Lavoie for me, I think she did a really good job. We've seen a lot of Lysas, unfortunately, for Lavoie. We've seen like 2 be done before, and I've seen a lot of other
Three.
Lysa. 3, yeah, actually 3. We've seen 3 Lysas before, and I've seen several outside of Snatch Game, outside of Drag Race, and like, was this funny? Yes, I thought it was really funny. I thought she did bring something new and interesting to Lysa, but unfortunately, since I've seen so many Lysas, I feel like I saw a lot of similarities to past Lysas, and like Logan said, I felt like when both Karen and Lavoie were bantering off of each other, Karen was the one that ended up getting like that was winning more out of that like volley rather than Lavoie. So I think Lavoie did a really good job. Lavoie was my third, but like I felt like I've seen a few things that she did before, which is unfortunate. But she still did a really good job.
See, this made me want like an Oops All Liza's Snatch Game. I thought that would be really fun with people who have done that character before. Like, can you imagine how wild that would be?
It would be incredible.
Yes, it would be fun.
Get them on a Zoom call.
Honestly.
Mhm.
You would have to, because they're literally from 4 different countries.
Lord.
Is it me?
Oh
It
no,
was Eris.
Oh, I was good.
sorry, I'm barely awake. Everyone, forgive me.
Our sleepy diva. Resident
yeah.
sleepy diva.
Alright.
Is Eris.
Lavoie ate this. Like, I know it's difficult because it's a character that's been done a million times, and I don't think Lavoie brought anything new to it. I don't think she needed to. If the wheel's not broken, you don't need to invent it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I just loved everything. Like, she had all the little Liza-isms down, everything through to her body language, and then the leg prop. I was fully expecting it to pick that up and throw it at her and be like, the only thing fake about me is this jazz leg.
Yeah, I think Lavoie did a great job. I think by virtue, like y'all have been saying, by virtue of the fact that we've seen Liza now 4 times on Snatch Game, I agree. I don't think she needed to add anything to this performance. It was a very solid performance. I think what brings it below some other people, I have Lavoie at 4th in my personal rankings. The reason why is because there wasn't a whole lot of originality, coupled with the accent was hit or miss. There were some moments where she slipped a little bit out of the Liza accent and more back into her Lavoie accent. And I think in the bantering that she did have banter with other characters, but I don't think that banter benefited her. I think all of the banter with her and Kyron as Elvis really benefited Kyron, and I don't really think there were any moments where Lavoie really was able to take those bantering moments and shine with it, other than the cock ring moment with RuPaul. And there were just other people that I enjoyed more. So I have Lavoie 4th for those reasons.
Lavoie won for me. She was my number one. Because I felt that I agree with you, Eris. Why try to invent the wheel when the wheel is already invented? We don't need to change anything. She doesn't have to be original. We've seen so many Lizas, but when you do it well, it's perfectly fine that it's not. We've seen so many people do it. Yeah, we've seen so many people do a lot of things. There's a lot of people who acted the same character all the time and do a lot of different characters that's the same. But it's like, how well do you do it? Just like music, we hear a lot of people cover a lot of people's songs. But if you make it your own and you cover it well, you still like the song. We still like these songs if the cover is done well. She covered Liza and she did it so well. It to me, and I didn't see all the other queens do Liza, but this just felt authentic. This felt like she knew Liza. Like she was, it felt like her and Liza were best friends and she was just talking and impersonating her best friend. So it felt very genuine to me. And so I enjoyed it so much more. And here's the thing I'll say about the banter. Maybe the jokes didn't come back on her and was good banter, but she felt so unselfish. She felt so selfless. I appreciate that in any actor or actress. Like, you're not always trying to make it about you in the situation where you want everybody to do well. And I don't think it dimmed her light at all. It just accentuated how good of a person that she is and how good of an actress that she is. Like, I thought it was so good. I was like, all the jokes don't have to be on you. And I think that's where we kind of missed the mark with Snatch Game. We won't feel like everybody has to make sure the spotlight is on me. If one person is shining and everybody else is failing, the Snatch Game is still a horrible Snatch Game. It's still a bad Snatch Game if the majority of the people are doing bad and you stand out as the best because I did all the work. Guess what? You are the best of the worst Snatch Game in history. I feel like this was a good Snatch Game because everybody had a moment except two people. Really, the majority of the people had the moment to shine, which made this a really interesting and good Snatch Game to watch. I think that's my problem with a lot of Snatch Games because it's usually the majority is not shining and it's one or two people who takes all the shine and everybody else is bad. And it's like, oh, well, two of y'all are good, but this Snatch Game was horrible. And I think we did it differently this time. So I appreciated this for Lavoie. She was my winner for sure.
And next up, we have Charity, and she is playing Nadine Coyle as Mary Poopins. But we're gonna let Eris start off on this one, since you know Miss Charity personally.
Oh, I was screaming at the TV. I was sat with Liam, my flatmate, and I was like, if she goes home tonight, I'm gonna be so deeply distraught and upset. And then we got into the first joke and Rue was cackling. I was like, oh, she got through the intro. Okay. And then it was just one joke after another and she was just nailing it every time. I was so happy. I was like overcome with emotion because I was just like after seeing her be safe for so long, I was like, fuck it, they're just gonna boot her next week, aren't they? And then just to see her do like a complete U-turn and eat it up, I was just like, yes. As a character, I thought it was so hilarious because there is this like trend in like a lot of British celebrities who kind of fall out of popularity. They kind of do this thing where they'll go work in theatre, but they won't go do like a serious play. They go and do pantomime and they do the pantomime circuit. It's why Katie Price has been, everyone's evil stepmother and also everyone's fairy godmother and
Yep.
Dick Turpin's grandma or whatever the character is in that. I can't remember. But it's invoking very much to that, and I feel like Nadine Coyle as Mary Poppins would be such a stupidly fun concept. Chara just took all of Rue's notes and applied it. She was like, oh, you want me to be Irish? Okay, I will make this Irish as fuck and throw my accent into it every little bit. Like when she's like, there's a wasp! A wasp!
There's a wasp!
A wasp!
A wasp!
Yeah, so Chara was my number one. Actually, since I'm gonna dip, I will give you my rundown. So 1 was Chara, 2 was Lil, 2 was Lil, 3 was Lavoie, 4 was Kyron, 5th was Marmalade, 6th was Octavia, 7th was Chanel, 8th was Releasa.
Her.
Slay.
Thank you, Diva, for your service in slayage today.
Thank
I'm gonna go have a
you.
nap. Good night.
Good night, Eris. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, when it comes, I don't know who should go next. Should I go? Should you go? How do we do this?
Well, you started, so
Okay. I'll just get through this quickly because apparently my mic is being really annoying. Anyways, Charity was one of she just surprised me. She just surprised me because she had like a very difficult character to do. She was doing two characters at once, and that's something that's really complicated to do. But also at the same time, she had like the good thing of like having two sources to really pull jokes out of. So she was able to really play with both characters and have something fun. And as I said, Chara kind of surprised me, and I thought she did a really good job. And I think just based on the fact that like I wasn't expecting this to really work, Chara was my number 2.
okay. Yeah, I thought Chera did well, but for me, I think Chera didn't do well because of RuPaul's advice to do this weird thing. I think she did well in spite of RuPaul's advice because it was a weird choice and it did not fully work for me throughout the performance. It mostly did, but there were times, and this is like one of my pet peeves with Drag Race is when I feel like the judges are telling me something is funny before I can figure it out myself. And we got examples of that during her performance, like when she's like, "Oh, I just came from an audition," and then RuPaul loses her mind, like she just heard the funniest thing ever, and it almost like makes me like tense up a little bit and be like, "Wait, this isn't funny though. Like, I want to hear the funny part," and that's not on Cher. Like she did do well. I just had a hard time because I felt like she was being kind of coddled by RuPaul the whole time. And it's really unfortunate because she didn't need that. She didn't need that because she had funny aspects to this. Like I thought it was really funny when she had to keep reminding RuPaul, "Oh, but this is Nadine. This is Nadine." I thought that part was probably my favorite. I thought she did well. For me, she would have been safe. I had her at number 5.
I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit, David. I think that I don't know if she was being coddled by RuPaul. I think this was a moment where, you know, when you have a conversation with somebody and y'all have y'all inside joke, and then you know they're about to tell the joke to somebody else, and you before they say it, you're like, "Oop, it's about to be good." I think it was one of those moments. I think Ru heard her say, "This is an audition. I just left an audition." And Ru was like, "Oh, here comes the joke. This is what I wanted." And she just reacted to knowing what's about to come. And I don't know. I thought it was funny. I thought Chara did really well in this. I thought that it was just a moment that Ru was like being human, being Ru, like, and not being the host, you know, because I know sometimes when we're the host, we have to have that biasy and, you know, try not to lead the audience. But in that moment, I think Ru was just being Ru. She was like, "I thought this was funny. I told her about it, and she actually did it. And it's funny to me. It might not be funny to you, but baby, it's funny to me." And so I think that was just a moment, and I thought it was funny. I think this is what I wanted Relisa to do, is what Charity did. I wanted her to take the two characters that you had and mix them and intermingle them so well that it seemed seamless. Releases didn't seem seamless. Charity seemed seamless. She seamlessly went into this the character between Mary Poppins and Nadine is her name. And so she
Yes.
seamlessly went in between the two and it made sense. Was it perfect all the time? No, but it was still so funny. I think I laughed the most with her and Kyron and Lavoie. That's why she's my number 3. But I just thought they were just funny, and she did it seamlessly. So I enjoyed her, and I enjoyed the whole concept of this.
I was so happy for Chara, and I was so proud of Chara because we saw how nervous she was, and I really think she took this absolutely deranged concept and turned it into a really, really great Snatch Game performance. The constant reminding of, oh, but no, it's really Nadine. Like, that is what did it for me. And the way she was able to blend these characters together was so good. I will say the one thing she got wrong, and I'm kind of surprised that Eris didn't mention it, her intro quote, and Chara talked about this on Twitter too, her intro quote was not actually the Nadine Coyle quote from X Factor. She got the birthday wrong, and she actually read off her own birthday instead of what Nadine pretended her birthday to be, which I just think is funny. It's like, you're so in the moment that you're gonna abandon both characters you're doing and just say your own birth date. Like, I'm not mad at that. I loved, and we'll talk about Lil here shortly, but I loved the banter that we got between Chara and Lil. And then for it to all come full circle at the end, and for her to be like, I didn't get the part, but I'm gonna go audition as Queen Victoria. Like, she was able to kind of do everything she wanted to do in Snatch Game. And that takes a real great comedic person. So for me, I have Chara at number 2.
Was it from X Factor or was it Pop Stars The Rivals?
I don't remember.
That was the
I
show
thought
that
it
Girls
was.
Aloud won. So I was like, I
Then it
watched
would have
all of
been
X
that.
Factor. Okay. Either way, it doesn't matter. Next up we have Lil, who is Queen Victoria. I honestly, at the start of this performance, I was a little worried for Lil because it seemed like there was like a timid like quality to her performance, but I felt like the more I watched, I was like, oh, that's on purpose. And I really thought she picked up steam as she went along. And she had a lot of funny, like, character elements that she added to. Like, when she was like, oh, cock, 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 cock. Like, I thought that was really funny. And then, like, her, like, saying, when's the feast? And telling the guards to come take Nadine. I thought, like, she had a lot of really funny things that were kind of, it just took a while to get to like her really finding her groove. But once she did, like, I thought she was nailing it. And for me, she would have been in my top. I had her number 3.
Yeah, Lil did a really good job, I believe. She was very close to being in my top. I will just say she was my 4th. Lil was just almost there. She truly was almost there, but I think the only thing that's keeping her out of my top 3 is the fact that it took a little bit to really get into the character and to make it super funny. Like, it took us a second to really get to the jokes and break out of the like shyness that this character like has. So it took a second for us to really get to the funny, but once it did, it really like exploded, and it was really, really funny. It's just, it took a little bit, but once it got there, it was really funny. All of the jokes were there, all of it was funny, the characterization was funny, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, Lil was my 4th.
It's me, right?
No, I think it's David.
No, I already went. I went first.
Oh,
David
no,
just went.
And then it's you,
Yeah.
Logan.
We picked up our original order. Sorry, viewers.
I was so confused by the order.
Me
that we were
too. I'm
going.
like,
It
is it me?
Damn you, Eris! I blame Eris Envy.
We'll
as
blame
I
Eris.
typically do for most things. I really agree with you, David. I think it was a bit of not a rocky start necessarily, but she came in feeling timid, and the moment she felt comfortable is when she really started to shine. The whole cock moment was wonderful. That was one of the highlights of Snatch Game for me, is just the way that she played the character, going from this like timidly horny woman to, you know, when is the first course being served? Like, I thought everything she did was so smart. Her playing off of other people too, I think, was really, really good. For me, I have Lil at number 3.
Now it's me. Yay.
Yes.
I loved Lil in this. I liked Lil very much. I thought she was funny. I agree with you, David. It took her a minute to get her groove, but once she did, she was on it. And my favorite was like when she was like, "Food! I want food! Where is the food? God, where's the food?" I was like, I just love that. I thought she was so funny. I thought she was really cute. She was my number 4 this week. And I loved it. I loved it a lot. Um, thought she was funny.
Thanks for stalling.
You're welcome.
And then last we have Octavia, who played the Welsh dragon. I actually liked a lot of what Octavia did. I think she started off strong, leaning into the Welsh accent. I did get worried. I was like, oh, is she going to do this accent the whole time? Because I will not be able to understand anything she does. Luckily, she didn't do it the whole time, but I thought she had a lot of strong moments. The parts where it kind of wavered for me was when she was making the Michael Jackson references, because I don't think it really felt natural with her character. It felt forced in there, and it was forced in by RuPaul's weird advice. But I also thought she had really good banter, especially with Kyron. There were really strong moments between them and the bacon of it all. And maybe my favorite part was when she referenced RuPaul and wrote down Shaka Khan as an answer, but did it with the Welsh type of spelling. I thought that was really clever. Overall, she was number 6 for me, but like a strong number 6. My top 6 were very good. Big gap between them and everybody else, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like mirror a lot of what you have already said, David. I think there was a lot of really funny and good moments that Octavia had, because this type of character just allows you to play around with like whatever you want, and so it just lets you really do as much as you want, like to play around with it. And I think Octavia was allowed to do that, but at the same time I do think she was slightly restricted by the fact that she was going out of her way to try to add as much Michael Jackson as she could, so that RuPaul would then laugh. And so I think that's truly the only issue that really we had with the Snatch Game. Because if she had not done that, I think she would have done better, and it would have just felt more natural as a character. So I do have Octavia as my 6th, but just like David said, I feel like my top 6 are all really close and they're all really strong. It's just I have more of a bottom 2 than I have like a higher placements. But yeah, I think Octavia did a fine job.
Every single one of my talking points was already said by either Eduardo or David, so I'm not going to reiterate them because I don't feel the need to. I also have Octavia at 6th, and it was a strong 6th, and I wish she had just done the Welsh Dragon. Damn you, RuPaul. That's all.
I don't have to say anything else because Octavia was a strong 6 for me, and everything that y'all said was I was gonna say. So there we go.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan. Period.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Even though she spelled it Welsh, and I was like, I love that for you.
That might have been my favorite moment of the entire Snatch Game, I gotta be honest, was the Welsh spelling of Shaka Khan. Like, it, I loved it. I loved it. Loved it.
I do have our overall rankings based on this, which is interesting. I thought it was going to be a lot more cut and dry, but we have so much variance, especially with the top 4, that it became pretty interesting. So we had a clear number 8, which was Relisa, a clear number 7, which was Chanel, 7 for all of us, a clear number 6, Octavia, 6 for all of us. And I was the only one who didn't have Marmalade at 5, so she is at 5. And then we do have Lil at number 4, so that means we got the same top 3 and bottom 3 as the show did. Charity was number 3, and it was pretty close, but Lavoie was number 2, and Kyron was number 1 overall.
See, when you're on the left side of the panel, you have the right opinion on number 1.
We're Team Lavoie over here.
Team
Kyron over here.
I'm team both.
Well,
I'm
would you
also
look at
team
that?
both. Well, and actually, I am team Lavoie because I only have Lavoie on the draft. But, it's fine. But yes, we get our critiques, we get our results, all the things. We go to Untucked, and I mean, the girls that are in the bottom know that they're in the bottom.
It's true. And so Chanel has a hard time. Like she gets pretty emotional in the Untucked. I want to say she had so many funny moments in this Untucked. And I was like, where was this Chanel during Snatch Game? Like, I'm trying to remember all of the things she said. Oh, she's like, they told me I look like a trash bin, which is a compliment for Kyron. And then when somebody was like, oh, they said that it was so close, it's like slicing a pube. And she's like, yes. And speaking of pubes, Relisa, how are you feeling? Like she had like there were at least 3 different like funny moments she had in Untucked. So, yeah, that was my biggest standout from that area.
I think that was the only standout from that area, honestly, because otherwise it was... Yeah. So, our top 3, as a panel agreed, Chara, Kyron, and Lavoie. Thank God Chara got a top placement. Thank you, Jesus. Finally. Even though David disagrees. But we have a winner. Or should I say, winners!
Yay! We're all happy here.
Deserved.
No, we're not. Because they, as well as they both did well, and I think they did, I just feel like we're just gonna be on Kyron's the whole time. Like, it was a good performance. You did well, great. But like Lavoie won. Just say Lavoie won. Just let it be Lavoie. Why I gotta be Lavoie and Kyron? Like, I don't know. That's just me. I'm just like,
Okay.
she already got 2. Why she got to get another one? Lavoie was trying to catch up. Let Lavoie catch up. Why we got to have Kyron just always be in the lead? We always got to ride Kyron's throughout this whole entire show. Kyron's gonna win. We get it, DragRace. We get it. But like, let somebody have their win. Why we got to share it? But whatever. That's just me. Love Kyron. She's on my team, so I'm not that mad about my draft. Draft points, great. But I'm just like, seriously, y'all. Why couldn't Lavoie just outright won it? But fine.
There is a precedent for Drag Race UK, like since season 1, of having 2 winners for a Snatch Game.
I don't care. That don't bother me.
Personally, I think if there are multiple people who give a performance in Snatch Game, which I'm going to say it, Snatch Game used to be like this big hyped moment. Like everybody just couldn't wait to watch Snatch Game. And then it just got stale for years and years and years and years and years. Just because like it never lives up to the hype. This lived up to the hype, and it is by far mostly, in my opinion, due to these two. These two both independently gave very, very worthy winning performances. So
I think Chelsea did too. So why not give all 3 of them one?
I was thrilled that these 2 won specifically, because for me, I thought that they were a level above everybody else. I know not everybody had them in their top 2, but for me, I thought they were both incredible.
I had them in my top 2, but I'm saying I think the level of performance for all 3 of the top 3 were equally as great. Like all of them had great moments throughout this thing. So why not give all 3 of them the win? If we go do that, if we're sharing wins,
I
give
didn't
all
think
3
they
of
were
them the
all
wins.
that. I didn't think all 3 of them were that close. So
Okay.
personally,
Well, when it comes to winning, I either wanted like Chera to win alone, or I wanted Kyron and Lavoie to win together. Like that's how I felt coming into this top 3, because I was like, either I want Chera to like finally have that moment where she wins the challenge and she gets recognition from the judges, or I want both Kyron and Lavoie to win together, because not only does like did they both relied on each other a lot on this challenge, so it would only really make sense to give them both the win. And also, I just felt like, I don't know, like we've had like a storyline with Kyron and Lavoie throughout the entire season of how they're really they're starting to get really close and they're really friendly with each other, and so them winning together, like it just felt nice to me. Like I really enjoyed watching two friends winning Snatch Game together at the same time, and I it was a nice moment, and so I was happy with this. But as I said, I would have been happy with either Karen and Lavoie winning together or with Chara winning alone. Like I thought those were really the two answers that, like two outcomes that I would have really been happy with. So I am happy.
Party.
Can I also just add, unless you had anything else to say, Logan? Okay, I'm feeling like the dynamic between Kyron and Lavoie is quickly becoming my favorite dynamic between two people on Drag Race ever. I just am so enamored and like in love with what I'm seeing from both of them. And it really like I had felt that way, but then last week when we got the emotional moment between the two of them, like there's just something really special about their relationship. And you can tell, like, even though they're very different generations, there's so much admiration between the two of them. And I've seen on Twitter people are calling for a double win this season, and I'm not always inclined to want that or to expect that, but I don't think I would be mad. I do not think I would be mad if they both ended up winning this season together. It would feel kind of fitting.
I think Lana might be. Lana is all about one person winning a challenge and somebody goes home every week.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I love how much of a Drag Race purist you are in that sense. Like, I do honestly love it. That you're just like, one winner, someone goes home, done.
That's what I like. I mean, because I feel like if Sharon wins, and I get some moments deserved, because I've said it before, like there should be a double Shantae. Like they both won the lip syncs. I think lip syncs, I get double Shantae. They can stay. But even that, y'all know how I feel about that sometimes. It's like, but I don't know. I feel like it feels very like the producers are telling us what they want when the way like the panel reacts to Kyron, the way they talk about Kyron, the way it's all about Kyron's excellent in everything. And it's like, here's what I think. It's going to either do one or two things for me in this season. It's elevating Kyron to be the best, so she's going to win the season, or they're setting her up for a epic fail, an epic fall, because they want it feels like the producers are telling us we should like Kyron. And what if Kyron does something that's not so great in the upcoming episodes? And then we're like, oh no, Kyron isn't doing so great. And they still praising Kyron like she's amazing. And then it's like, that is the quickest way to get the Drag Race fans to be like, okay, now y'all playing in our face. Y'all know she wasn't that good. And they go turn on her. And so I feel like I don't know. I don't like it. I wish they would, I don't know. But I do think she performed very well in this episode. I do. I feel like if either one of them had won, I'm happy with the win for either one of them, but I just feel like it should have just been one of them.
Okay.
Just me.
Valid.
Just me.
No, valid.
And for me, it feels more like instead of them elevating Kyron up as something, it feels more acknowledging what Kyron's doing.
Sure, she's doing great, but what happens if she doesn't do great and they still doing it? What if they like?
But that's a what if that hasn't happened. Like she's been safe.
I'm
when
not
she deserves
saying
to be
that.
safe.
I just don't feel like they will put her in a category of safe. They will still put her at the top when all the fans are like, not that great. But it hadn't happened yet. It's a bunch of what ifs, so we'll see. But congratulations to both Karen and Lavoie.
I actually think that's an interesting point to bring up, because I had a similar thought similar but different to what you had in that moment, Lana, because we get our bottom three, obviously, and it's Octavia, Chanel, and Relisa, of course. And I was like, are they going to save Relisa? I was like, is there a universe similar to what you're talking about with Kyron? I was like, is there a universe? Because I'll say this, I won't be on the look over here, but Relisa had one of my favorite looks of the night on a runway that is absolutely incredible. Lana and David will talk about it on look over here because I'm very upset I won't be there. But I was like, Relisa's runway was so good. Are they going to keep Relisa safe? Like, is she going to be saved because she has a challenge win and because the judges are loving her? And I'm really happy to say, no, they put her in the bottom. And I will say, Lana, to your hypothetical, I think if Kyron bombs the challenge, I think there's a universe where they will put her in the bottom. I do think that'll happen. But unfortunately, two of my favorite people on this season are in the bottom, and it's Chanel and Relisa. Lip syncing to Girls Aloud, and I'm upset that Chara didn't get this song to lip sync to. Not that I wanted Chara in the bottom by any means of the imagination, but I just think it's very funny for them to have a Girls Aloud lip sync on the week where Chara changes her character to then be Nadine Coyle as Mary Poppins. But yeah, Some Kind of Ooh by Girls Aloud. I gotta say, I thought this was a great lip sync.
Yeah, this was a really good lip sync. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
I have a maybe potentially slightly unpopular opinion.
Let's hear it.
I don't think Chanel won this lip sync. I'm going to say that. I do think Relisa won this lip sync. But for the first 50%, I was like, is Chanel going to win this lip sync? Because I thought, at least for the first half, I was really in tune with what Chanel was doing. I thought her mannerisms were very Girls Aloud. I thought I thought her whole essence was really good about it. And then Relisa really stepped it up, and I think she was really impeded by what she was wearing, and I don't know what the rigging or the mechanism was for her in this, but clearly she couldn't take it off. And I was like, are we about to see Relisa go home? And I mean, based on the Snatch Game performance alone, it wouldn't have been undeserved. But I was really happy to see Relisa step up her performance in the second half. And I think ultimately, I think she had a strong finish to the lip sync. And I do think she won this lip sync, but not by as big of a margin as I would have predicted seeing these two in the bottom two on paper. And that made me really happy for Chanel being able to keep up with someone like Relisa. And I also think Relisa did a spectacular job in this lip sync. So.
Yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. Because I think I got that same impression on first viewing. But for me, what I really do, like, I agree with you. I think that what Relisa was wearing, and specifically her makeup too, that kind of inhibited her because it's hard to make out a lot of what she's doing. She had to oversell it. So like on second viewing, I was like, wow, Relisa's really giving expressive face during this lip sync. And she had to really notch it up. Like if we had just seen them in two very similar outfits, I think we would have said that was a knockout. But since we couldn't really make out everything that she was doing because she was almost like this big hair blob moving around, it didn't seem as impressive as it actually really was. So I'm glad she won.
Yeah, I'll just say I agree. I feel like Relisa was really like struggling with the outfit, but I feel like also the moment that Chanel lost that finger, it was over. I was like, yeah, Relisa's winning this. Okay. Because it was already really close. And then Chanel lost the finger, and they gave them that sound effect of like the symbol. And I was like, okay, she's gone. Goodbye. Love you, Chanel.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate because I love Chanel. But like, yeah, I felt like Relisa absolutely won this. I was going to say challenge. Won this lip sync.
She won the challenge of lip syncing in this outfit.
Yes, absolutely.
That
was an absolute challenge. Yes.
That is an absolute challenge, and she rose to that challenge. And Chanel is, and David, I'm gonna call out David Healy right now in this moment. You couldn't even spell her last name right.
Not this. David.
It's one N, David. But Chanel's gone. No. No. And all I will say is, as the resident Chanel O'Connor defender of this podcast this season, I really, from the Meet the Queens, I just have fallen in love with Chanel. I think she's such an interesting enigma of a Drag Race character. She brought us so much entertainment this season. And I'm very happy she was on TV. And I think she is someone that, with a bit more experience, we could see return for a future, All-Star season. And I think she is someone that could do really well. And I would like to see it. So shout out to Chanel.
Yeah, shout out to Chanel. And also, who have you had to defend Chanel against? Because I think we've all really we've all liked her as a TV character.
But I was declared the Chanel O'Connor defender by Chanel herself. Okay.
I don't remember that. But
it was in the comments.
I don't remember it being a Chanel defender, but maybe we'll see. I believe you. But I really liked how she exited. I thought she was very funny. She's like, I'm not one for speeches, but I can't sing it because copyrighted. That's a weird song to be copyrighted. But yeah, I thought she had a really funny exit. So she should be proud for sure.
She had a great exit. I was really the callback to that. I bet Amanda Holden was confused, and I love that Amanda Holden was confused about this.
And Amanda Holden is like one of my favorite guest judges I've seen in a while. She was incredible.
Yeah, she was really good. I love her as well. Chanel going here is really upsetting. I will say the writing was on the wall for me. Like I expected Chanel to go around this point, unfortunately, but as you guys have said, Chanel is just a really interesting character, and she brought something really fun to the season, which was a shady, slightly villainous character, and I will always appreciate a character like that once we get it on like reality television, because there's a lot of moments in which like we get a lot of kumbaya moments and a lot of like girls that are like, oh, I just want to be nice. And I love when a girl just says what's on her mind and doesn't really give a fuck about what anyone else says. And I feel like Chanel is one of those girls. And so she brought something really fun and really interesting to the season, which I will always appreciate. And so thank you, Chanel, for bringing some fun drama to the season. You made this season better.
Yes. And it was an O'Connor apologist. Sorry, I did use the wrong term. But I am a Chanel O'Connor apologist, and I will continue to be. And thankfully, we stalled just enough time for Lana to give her final thoughts on Chanel!
Yes!
Work.
You're welcome.
And the lip sync if you have comments.
And the lip sync if you want.
Yes.
Lip sync was fine. It was a good lip sync. I think the right person won. Chanel dropped a few of the words here and there throughout the song, so it was a fine lip sync. Chanel, I saw the writing on the wall, but love to have you. You got on my nerves sometime, but in the end, you were fine. Great that you were there. You left your mark for sure. And in my parting words to Chanel, happy birthday to you. Thank you.
Purr. All right. Draft update. David.
Also next week is a Rusical. So
Yay!
I'm excited to see it's Pop of the Tops, whatever that means.
It's British pop divas. And I'm so excited.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited to come on this podcast next week and have all three of you know almost no one. And me and Eris just gush over all the British stuff.
You might be surprised.
We'll see.
I know music.
Mostly Eduardo. That comment was mostly directed at Eduardo.
Yeah, I am sorry. I a lot of what
hey,
Britain has doesn't come over
you knew
here.
everyone on the one that we just did for España. It's fine.
yeah, I knew a lot of them, so that
The
that
balance. The
The
balance of
balance.
the universe.
helped. The balance.
But yes, a draft update.
Please.
So number 4 is still Logan, 34 points.
Hi.
And I am down there close to you in third place with 40 points. Yep.
I'll take
And then second place is Eris with 54 points. Yeah. So that means in first place by only 1.5 points is Lana with 55.5 points. Thank God for Kyron, right?
Kyron, baby. I'm telling you.
Is that all
I'm
you
winning
have
with-
left?
No.
No.
You were
Yeah,
so
Kyron
upset by
Leo.
Karen winning.
I have
You were so
Kyron and
upset.
Leo left. So.
Oh, you're good.
Is that it?
Yeah, you're
I don't-
good.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
had
'cause you
Kiki.
had-
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P.
And I think Eris lost his first team member this week
Yep.
with
Yep.
Chanel.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wild. Well, that's where we're gonna leave off for today. But don't worry, these two over here on that side will be here to talk about Look Over Here and all of this amazing runway. And again, I'm upset that I won't be here to talk about this.
Wait, what's the
But I
show that
will-
we're gonna be on? Is it
Look over here.
I love it. And I love even more that Eduardo can't hear it.
I'm so sorry.
With that, thank you for joining us. Make sure to check out our Look Over Here episode to talk about this runway, and make sure to subscribe, like, and share on the way out. Check out the description below where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, our Patreon, our social media, and where you can get your merch, including but not limited to cup mug. And with all that being said, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. So, cheers!